Welcome back to hygiene Live from Gamescom 2018. Now, fans of Theme Hospital are getting their long-awaited spiritual successor in 2 Point Hospital, arriving in just a few days. Here to tell us all about it are Lauren and Chris.
Hey,
guys, thank you for coming by the hygiene stage here.
Thanks for having us. This is rad.
Yeah, you guys are just 8 days away from the launch of 2 Point Hospital.
Next Thursday.
What are the feelings about that? Excitement, nervousness?
So excited, but really just to get it out there, just to have people playing, and you know, from my point of view, community to get that kind is see what everyone else is doing, and I just love it.
I know fans are super excited about this. You're sort of like filling a hole in the gaming landscape. There aren't a lot of games like this, right? This is a game where you build and manage your own hospital in a very lighthearted way, right? This is not a sim, a hardcore sim.
Not at all. I mean,
no, you don't. The whole point of this is that it's fun. But you still we want you to care. We still want you to care about your little people. I mean, that would be a dreadful thing for this. But we want you to care about their little lives, but your staff, your patients, absolutely everybody. And we're hoping that that's something we've achieved, that you really do care about these little people.
And what are we getting a flyby of here?
So this is 2 Point County. Gotcha. This is where all of our hospitals are based, and in the game you've got the, you kind of start in Hogsport, which was the earlier part here. We're going through the teaching hospitals into the kind of colder areas, and the whole kind of what you've got to be thinking about all the time is, as you move from area to area, the hospital's going to need different things. The patients are going to have different ailments, different problems. You know, if you're in a cold area, you've got to make sure that you're keeping everyone warmer. If you're in one of the hotty places, hotty areas, like Sweaty Palms, for example, which is one of our holiday destinations, you've got to make sure you're keeping everyone cool. If you're in the mountains, you're going to be seeing more people with hurty legs than if you're by the beach. You know, that kind of stuff.
Hurty legs, is that one of them?
Hurty leg is one of our.
Hurty leg is an official medical term.
It's one of our,
That's a.
We're doctors.
I lost a great aunt to hurty legs. So you start out sort of modestly with one hospital, but you'll eventually be managing multiple locations, is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. So you start out in Hogsport, you learn everything you need to know, and the way that we're doing it is that we want the game to appeal to hardcore gamers as much as it appeals to casual gamers. So you only need to hit 1 star on each of your hospital before you move on to the next one. And what you can then do as you progress through, you're learning more with every hospital, you're unlocking more. And you can take that back to every other hospital that you've opened since and apply those learnings so that you're constantly kind of developing your healthcare empire.
We didn't want you to lose when you finish the first level. We didn't want you then just to throw that away.
Yeah, just move on.
Because the further you go, as Lauren said, the more research you get, the more you can teach your doctors, nurses, the more they can learn.
Yep.
You may have had a doctor, for example, in the first hospital that was fantastic at his job but had dreadful cleanliness. So he was very good, but unfortunately he caused more problems than he actually solved. And you may not have learned how to teach him cleanliness. But if you go back, having played a lot more, you can then make him a far better doctor, which would then improve your first hospital and enable you to achieve the 2nd and 3rd stars.
So here we see some examples of building some different rooms, and it looks like you're going to be building everything from psychiatric facility to, I imagine, surgery rooms and an ER. And
I mean, so you've got your pharmacies, you've got, there's a psychiatric room there, there's the GP's office, but then you're going to be moving on to, and this is where Notty is the absolute hero of this situation, because as our animator, some of the rooms, the machines in the rooms that he's created are just incredible to fit, the illnesses that we've got throughout the game. So
that was part of the fun. That was part of the fun of not having real illnesses and being able to do what we like, is that we can kind of take liberties with the machinery. There was a part of us, I think, that always wanted every single machine that the patients go in. There's an element of, good God, if this goes wrong, this could kill them. But when it works, it's really cool. We've done quite a few animation variants on it. That was one of the things we wanted, was to layer a huge amount of anims in the game. So however long you've been playing, you're still going to see weird little things that you haven't seen before.
Nice.
Like this patient with Mockstar that we're seeing right now. And the animation for his walking is something else. Like, it's so rad. It really is. But yeah, and that's something that I've picked up from listening to you doing some of the press talks this week, that you want each of the illnesses to be recognizable by how they walk, so that you can see as soon as they come into the
I mean, it's very nondescript, that one. It's
so
not based on anyone specifically.
So all the illnesses are made up in the game?
Yes.
Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you've got a couple of broken bones. Other than that, it's all completely made up.
And we have things like pans on heads.
Yeah.
Pans on
heads.
Okay.
Which is pandemic.
Pandemic.
I mean, most of these are kind of forged from dreadful puns.
That seems to be the starting point.
I appreciate a good dreadful pun.
Dad jokes.
That's the best kind of pun, I think, actually. So how open-ended is the game as compared to like, are there sort of like mission objectives that people need to achieve in order to, that you're trying to hit?
Absolutely, there will be. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a case of you're given, especially in the early levels, as you're getting to grips with how you're playing the game and what you need to do. You're getting little objectives pop up and things that you need to do before you can then move on to the next thing. And how that kind of works, as far as illnesses are concerned, is you may get an epidemic of something appear in the hospital, but you're not yet at the point where you're ready to be able to cure it because you haven't done that learning yet. So you need to make sure that you're completing those objectives. They'll unlock the rooms that you need going forward to cure the people that might be arriving.
I see. Is there a way to win the entire game, beat the game, or is it meant to just sort of keep playing it?
It's kind of open-ended.
You just kind of keep going.
You just keep going. I mean, don't get me wrong. I work on this game. I love this game to bits. I love this team to bits. But this is an absolute. It just sucks all of your time. It's incredible how much time you can spend. The detail that you can go into, you know, it's really got that kind of under the hood management sim, hardcore, you know, aspect to it. But it's also, you know, it's got a more of a fun over the, you know, a veneer of
We
super
wanted
fun.
it to be very accessible.
So
the visual style is very accessible. It's nice and it's pretty to look at. But if you want to kind of go down to the granular level, that's there as well. It's just under the hood. It's just there. But it depends if you want to play that way.
Yeah.
If you want to 1-star every hospital and go through the game, you could do that. But if you want to go and try and 3-star every hospital, that is hard.
There's some real details
really
you can go into. Yeah, absolutely. The detail is quite something. I still get amazed by it when I'm playing, the amount of things that you can look into, even down to the prices of the snack machines. If you're not making enough money, you can hike those up, but people will be a little bit annoyed about it. But, you know, you can play around with it. Yeah,
so this isn't a hardcore sim, but like you have to make sure there are restrooms for people here. So like what's the balance there? Like how realistic?
You'll soon know if you don't put down a toilet.
Yeah, man.
Because we've had the license with the style to make the anims a little bit cheekier than we could do if it was a very realistic looking game. If you don't put down toilets, people will just start wetting themselves and worse.
Yeah. And then other people will slip over it.
Yes, exactly. Okay. If you don't have a janitor, the hospital will start looking quite dreadful quite quickly. But then illness will rise because you've got a very unclean hospital.
Sure.
People will be dissatisfied, your reputation will go. So even things like going to the toilet, which we've made quite funny, if you don't keep an eye on it, it can really damage your hospital, but in a kind of quite silly way.
So what do you think it is about a game like this that people enjoy? Because I think in real life, the hospital is like the last place anybody wants to go. But it can be fun in this setting.
And that's kind of a story of a little bit of our history, is that there was very much this option many years ago to make a serious, you know, a really serious hospital game. And after seeing the horrors of hospitals, I think our founders were like, you know what, this isn't fun. This isn't fun. So it's, I mean, it's fun. That's what we have.
I don't think any of us wanted to make a kind of serious.
No, it's hard to escape when you're dealing with really serious issues. It's hard to feel like you've taken that.
Plus all the majority of the members of 2 Point Studios are veterans of these kind of games. That's what we've spent most of our careers doing. And I think we wanted to make a game that is reminiscent of the spiritual successor type things. Because they are how we remember strategy games and these kind of games. They were all tongue-in-cheek, and they all had quite a cheeky kind of element to them. But there was a very deep, hard game there. If you wanted it to be that way, it will make you work quite hard.
Yeah. We should explain what's going on here because it just looks a little bit confusing. So this is one of the levels that you get to where it's basically the hospital's been abandoned. So not only do you need to get in there, but you need to fix it up. You need to make it nice. You need to clean it up and get everyone in there and make it a running hospital again. So there are different challenges. For every hospital, there's a different thing that you've got to kind of get to grips with.
I see. And in terms of staffing up your hospital, are you hiring everything from doctors? You said janitors.
Nurses,
are there like
assistants?
like administrators?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we have obviously the receptionist, which is what's needed to be hired next in this game. But we also have, when you get to the later parts of the game, we have a marketing department because you want to make sure that everyone knows that you've got this new machine to fix this new illness that's appeared. So there's everything. And it is about just getting the balance. You can go in and learn a lot about the people before you hire them and try to understand their personality a little bit. And then once they're in the hospital, you can watch them interact with people. And because all of the little people have their own personalities, they will actively interact with each other and kind of, it's really good to watch. It's like people watching, but you don't have to go outside.
Oh, it's the best. So you're launching on PC on August 30th. Have you thought about consoles? Do you think this type of game would work on a console?
We, at the moment, can't move for people asking for it to come to console. We absolutely know that the demand is out there. We know that people are very interested to see it on PS4 and Switch. I mean, it would be fantastic.
It's something we've kind of spoken about within the studio. But we're just going to have to wait and see.
Let's see, Let's get this launch out of the way. See how well it goes.
The one more question, is there a multiplayer mode in the game?
There is in a sense. You can you have leaderboards where you can compare your hospitals to your friends' hospitals, show off your research, boast, just make them feel inadequate, really. And then, that's as far as we've got with that at the moment.
But it definitely gives people that feeling of competition. We invited some of our core community in to just kind of get to grips with it and see how they felt and to give us a bit of feedback. And before long, we were seeing them competing with each other when they didn't even know each other. So it was actively kind of getting everyone riled up, which is rad.
Very cool. The game looks super fun, 2 Point Hospital. It's out very soon, August 30th, and I think there's a long-time fans of this type of game that have been waiting for just this sort of thing. They're very excited. So congratulations on the imminent release.
Thanks,
Cheers, mate.
Thank you very much.
so
much.
Have a great show. Stay tuned. So much more to come from IGN Live at Gamescom 2018 after this.